No.
Yeah, but like I need to get you on webcam because you're on phone right now. I need to get you on a computer or some shit.
No,
The
that's
public
all right.
library has computers.
What else you got?
Well, what you got, man? Are you a flat earther? What's popping?
So are you.
You said you're a flat earther? Is that what you said?
Yeah. So are you, is what I said.
So am I.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that.
That's true.
I'm not trying to get all that stigmatism.
That's for real, dog.
Dude, the world's not flat, bro. I don't know who told you that.
Yep.
Hate to burst your bubble, you know, the firmament type bubble, but world's not flat.
Tell me all about it.
I mean, we can go into this heated debate if you don't want. If you don't want to just chill, I don't mind debating.
Why's it got to be heated?
Because it usually ends up with 5 other people chiming in, and the whole Discord goes into flames. And
depends on what you say. How goofy it is.
The truth is like a fire, bro. It burns everything in its path.
Okay. Well, it's also cleansing, isn't it?
Indeed.
Well, let's go. Let's
All right, so would you mind explaining to me, you know, like the old simple thing, how are diamonds made on a flat earth?
I started on ladies' night. If ladies want to take it.
Like, how is a diamond formed on a flat earth, if you don't mind?
Is it
ladies'
Yeah, go ahead. It's not very interesting to me, but yeah, go ahead, Roto, and then we'll start ladies' night after you guys are done.
Oh, man.
Timmy's an idiot, and he's kind of annoying. So
you see what I'm saying? You see how the chat goes into flames?
No, man. No. I was just going to pass the paddle. These ladies were about to take turns spanking you.
Right.
Hey, yeah.
But
I mean, what's
y'all still can't explain how diamonds are formed on a flat earth. I'll just leave
the same way they would be anywhere else. It has no relevance to the shape of the Earth whatsoever.
It does, actually. It's called tectonic plates.
Oh, plates.
Yeah. And the heat in the core of the Earth and all the metals and the pressure, right? Flat Earth doesn't have all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Verify the core. We've never verified the core.
Diamonds. Diamonds. Thank you.
I'm not going to have a conversation with you if you don't let me finish my sentence. So
look at your wedding ring, ma'am. Please.
I'm not even going to entertain that ploy. We've never dug further down than 10 miles, so all of your...
You know why? Because it's hot as fuck. That's why.
Yeah. But there's no proof of your claim about
There's
the core.
proof of temperature that they took down there, though.
Yes, there's obviously heat inside the Earth. We have volcanoes, that's correct. Does not prove a shape in any way.
Your mom.
I don't understand where this is coming from. Like, where when you were born in America, did you just say, oh, my government's lying, my schools are lying, my parents are lying, the world is flat? Like, where is this coming from?
She got it from Discord.
Are you asking me? Yeah, I mean, you were asking me the question, I'll answer.
She got it from Discord.
Nope, neither of those things are true.
Yeah.
If you would like me to answer, I will, but if
blind leads the blind type of shit.
Okay, I'll just mute you because we were having a conversation and you're extremely rude, SDFGH.
It's not really nice.
Yeah, it's not nice when you're rude. Do you really want to know the answer, State Department, or not?
Yes. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, good, because sometimes people just ask rhetorical questions that they think they know the answer to and they're not actually interested in the real answer. So it was the year 2015. I'll try to make this short.
You don't have to. We're all listening.
Yeah, except for that dude. I couldn't even find him to mute him. Maybe he left.
I sorted it out for you, Mary Mom.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I was getting my master's degree in science education. It was a
What year was this again? 2006?
2015.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a physics class. We were assigned to address a common physics misconception that students might have and write a term paper on how we would demonstrate to them their misconception and what we would do to show them the scientific view. So at that time, Flat Earth was a large part of popular culture. There was a rapper named B.O.B. that was writing songs and talking about Flat Earth on Twitter. I think her name was like Tequila or something like that. She was some kind of famous person talking about it. Anywho, a lot of young people were talking about it because these popular figures were discussing it, so I thought that would be a good idea to write a paper on why they were wrong, because just like most people, just like you coming in here, I assumed that the only way someone in 2015 would still be thinking that the Earth was flat was if they were stuck in the Stone Age, unwilling to progress in their thinking, so on and so forth. So I began to do searches for information on what I would do to demonstrate that we definitely lived on a globe. The further I got into it, the more questions were raised that I was not able to answer. I started to get very worried. I wondered how I was even going to write this paper, because I was supposed to be writing with evidence for the globe, which I couldn't find verifiable, testable, repeatable scientific evidence for it, because it's not actually there. I was shocked, just like you would be if you followed the evidence where it leads, that actually, even though you assume that some smart scientists proved it, they actually did not. So that's how I got into this topic.
Did you get your degree?
I did, yep, the next year, yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I got an A on the paper, but then I laugh at it now when I go back and read it, because it's like one paragraph I'm arguing the flat Earth, then the next paragraph I'm arguing the globe, then the next paragraph. I mean, it's like, I'm surprised I got an A, because you're supposed to have a thesis and stick to it, but I was so confused by it, because then I also got some really bad information, because at that time, a lot of the information came from the Flat Earth Society, which is an organization full of bad information. They basically just sit there and argue about flat Earth models all day, and their purpose is to discredit the truth that the Earth is flat and stationary, just as it appears. It was very hard to find good sources. The main thing I found were questions, and then I would not find scientific sources to answer them. Questions such as, if a helicopter, rises up, why can't it just hover there, wait for the globe to turn? Why does it have to have any forward motion whatsoever? Things like that, thought questions.
Well, let me ask you, do you think satellites are real? Bare minimum. Do you think they're real?
There are objects in the sky. I mean, some people call them satelloons.
No, internet satellites, imagery satellites, GPS. Do you think
we can have objects? No one is denying there's objects in the sky that are giving off signals. That does not mean they're orbiting a sphere, because we've already geometrically demonstrated that.
But they're orbiting Earth, correct? They're orbiting Earth, correct?
No, they're just up there in the sky.
Yeah, but nothing can just sustain itself in the sky. You know what I mean? Like planes need fuel. Like a satellite can't just.
There's a lot of evidence to show that they're balloons. Yeah. Just like what?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say they're balloons. Satellites are
different devices,
man-made objects.
Yeah, there's different man-made objects up there. That the government has a lot of technology. We're not aware of all of it, nor do we need to be to demonstrate that the Earth is flat and stationary, just as it appears. I mean, have you ever experienced it any other way?
Yeah, but I mean, we've been launching satellites since 1957. Right, this isn't some new.
And how does that prove the globe? How does that prove the globe, U.S. State Department?
It proves gravity, one thing.
No.
A common thing that all of y'all deny exists. Because if gravity didn't exist, then how are these satellites orbiting the Earth?
How does a satellite prove gravity? Please show me that cause and effect relationship with a natural observation, a hypothesis, an independent variable, dependent variable.
Well, let me give you an example. If I'm at the surface of the Earth, right, and I pick up a water bottle and I drop it, it's going to fall. If I go to Manhattan and I get on top of a skyscraper, I get farther away from the surface. If I hold a water bottle over the edge and drop it, it's going to fall to the ground. If I go to the top of Mount Everest, the largest known point in our planet, and I drop a water bottle, it's still going to fall. So there's proof right then and there. Okay, right there,
Nope,
you can
nope,
drop a
I'm
water
sorry, you
bottle
didn't.
in your
I'm
house.
sorry. Hold
That
on.
proves
You did not-
gravity.
did
You can't
what
see
part?
gravity, right? I can't physically
You
show
can't
you a
just
picture
keep
of it.
going. This is not. This has to be a back and forth because I asked you a specific question which you did not answer.
You
I
said, "How
asked
can I
for
prove
your.
gravity exists?"
And you didn't because you
I
didn't
just
prove
did.
cause. Nope, you did not. I asked for a
What do
cause
you
and
mean the
effect
cause? It's
relationship, an independent variable, and a
gravity
dependent
is the
variable.
outcome of an object's mass. You know that, right?
No, 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 no. It's
That's
not.
the whole idea.
No,
Hey, so
no.
what if you would have
That is
switched
You're
that?
literally
mass,
you're going
mass
against social
attracting.
norms. That's all
Nope,
you're doing.
I'm not actually. Mass attracting mass is a form of
So why does
gravity,
the
of
moon
course.
orbit the Earth, ma'am?
You're not going to let me finish my sentence. Is there anybody in here who wants to have a conversation that wants to let me finish my sentence, or are we stuck with this guy? Or
You
does
just
any other
asked
lady?
me, how can I prove gravity? I'm asking you, how does
Yeah,
the
you
moon
U.S.
orbit
Department,
the Earth?
U.S. State Department, stop. You gotta let her ask questions, I mean, she was
Do you
about
think
to
the
finish the
moon's
sentence.
real?
Okay,
Is the moon
are
real?
you gonna?
No,
I'm just gonna
you
mute
can't
you.
just gish gallop. You can't just gish gallop. I mean,
Hold on.
I'm willing to talk to you,
Hold
but
on.
you can't just gish gallop from one thing to another.
Yeah, U.S. State Department, you're gonna be muted unless you let the conversation flow. You just can't start interrupting and talking over people. You understand? Answer is yes or no. Do you understand?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right.
Hey, yeah,
But,
thank you. Because
Mary,
I
you asked me a
no,
question.
hold on. No, you have to either concede the last point, or we can continue to
Are you not
discuss it.
going to let
Because
me answer the question?
you didn't. I already gave you a chance. And you gave me no cause, and you did not
Yeah,
give
but I'm
me
not done. I'm still
experimental
explaining.
proof.
You can't just
Dropping
explain gravity
something.
with
No,
one sentence.
dropping something and having it drop is not proof of any cause. All right, go ahead. Let's hear it. Let's hear your proof.
Okay, thank you. First off, do you think the moon is real? Why does the moon not turn in the
Obviously,
sky?
the moon
It has
is-
one face. It shows one face only. There's a dark side of the moon, and there's a light side of the moon. And it never rotates. Never. You know that, right?
That's
It's
pretty silly
tidally
because
locked
dark just
to the
drop
Earth.
the dark
Why
and
does the moon
light,
just wander
dark
off?
and the light.
Why doesn't
do
it
you have
just
to-
float away? Why does the
Yeah,
moon
hold on.
stay there?
Before let's go back. Let's go back to you dropping things. You went with a water bottle, drop it up.
So,
Hold on. You went
can
with
you
hold
answer
on.
that,
I'm speaking.
Mary? Why the
State
moon doesn't just
Department.
float off
Are you
into
gonna
space?
stop? Are you gonna stop? Do I have to mute you again? Because you're
You act
gish
like she
galloping.
doesn't have the answer.
Yeah,
It's okay.
you're
She's
gish
got the
gallop.
answer. Let's hear it.
You're gish galloping away
You're
from the.
protecting her. You're protecting her right
No,
now.
I want you to go back to the point
Why does
that
the
we were
moon
talking. Because
fly
you
away
went to
like a
the
balloon?
I swear,
Hello?
dude, I'm going to mute you, bro, and I don't want to, man.
I'm muting you right now.
Okay, well then you're
So,
blocked. And actually
lady,
gonna get
why does-
banned. You're banned. Bye.
It is ladies' night, just so you guys know.
I did not know that. Is it? I
Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
thought it was on
didn't-
Friday. Sorry.
Yeah, we changed. It's all good. I mean, it's up to Dandelion, whatever she wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care if you guys wanted to talk to him. It's just he was not really willing to have a
Are
conversation.
you
I
gonna
just
answer why the moon
wanted him
doesn't float away,
to. I just
or-
wanted him to switch the water bottle to a helium balloon. See what happens.
Yep, that's a good question. Why don't you answer that?
Why does the moon float away? What's going on?
We're not moving to the moon yet. I already told you you had to either concede that
I know you don't
point
have
or
the
discuss it
answer.
further.
I know. You can't explain it. I get it.
Mary, mom, can you ask him if he muted me?
No,
You
I
can't
didn't mean
mute
you.
elbow. Okay, good.
Okay.
Because you can't mute
So
before the
basically, it's called
conversation
gravity,
makes it
Mary.
chaotic.
It's called gravity. I know you're. It's profound. Whoa, gravity. But the
No,
Illuminati
again-
didn't create gravity. Satanists didn't create gravity. Okay. The
says
the
who?
deep state
What is
didn't
your
create
name?
gravity. All right.
U.S. State Department. You are talking to a person here. You don't really. I mean, I'm just here to give you a little pro tip on social, cues here. You don't really have a good sense of like who you're talking to in the room, okay? Because you just go on and you decide what
I'm
I
talking
think.
to you.
Yeah, I know, but you obviously don't understand who you're talking to. All right? So you think you can move on to the moon. I am not going to have a discussion about the moon and what's happening there when you can't even prove your gravity on Earth. So Albo proposed a very good question
So
about
why do things fall by chance? Like, for instance, this water bottle.
same thing that was just demonstrated to you through the Socratic method, through questioning, that your water bottle is more dense than the air, so it's going to fall where your helium balloon.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me if humans were less dense, they'd just float away?
100%.
That's like, that is such a child's play on gravity.
Maybe you should go back and re-educate yourself like a child. I think that would be a good idea for you. Because when you came to this earth,
because things are heavy, they don't float away. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Because there's no proof of your imaginary gravity spinning spaceball religion. It's just your belief.
Oh, so now you're an atheist.
No, is this how? Do you usually have like success with this?
You said spaceball religion.
You're putting things into my mouth that I never said.
Yeah,
I did claim
you mentioned religion.
You have a religious belief. Yeah, I didn't say anything about my beliefs. I said you have a religious belief.
So my spaceball religion has an agenda to take over the world, right?
That's what you're saying. You keep saying things, and I'm not saying
you mentioned it.
Things.
Obviously, you have some sort of agenda.
Nope. I'm really just here to have a conversation with people who are interested in talking about the world where they live.
Normal people know why, humans procreate, why bees pollinate, why the water does what it does, right? We have the scientific method to figure all these things out.
That's right.
Okay?
Yep. So what's the scientific method? Tell me what the steps are, please.
We can understand on our location, right? Where am I? I'm in my house. How do I know that? Because I know. I don't need to prove that I'm in my house. I know I'm here.
Nope.
Right?
Nope. That's not the scientific method. That's just some kind of weird philosophy you're into.
No. It's literally common sense. It's common sense.
The scientific method is an agreed upon systematic way to determine cause and effects relationships in our world, in which case you have to make a natural observation, develop a hypothesis, have an independent.
How do you observe everything at one time?
Collect your results, analyze your data, draw a conclusion, decide whether your results support your hypothesis, and then if you need to either throw out your hypothesis and create a new one or revise your hypothesis and test again. If your results seem to uphold your hypothesis, then you need to have your procedure all written out so that someone else can repeat the same test under the same conditions and get the same results. It's not just sitting in your house and thinking, I'm here. No, that's not the scientific method. You're wrong.
Tasty.
I could just start linking shit in the side chat. You can read all day on how the world is a globe.
Yeah, I usually do read all day, but not links from some guy who doesn't know you shouldn't come into a Discord and burp on your mic first thing, because you made a really bad impression on us, and it hasn't changed since then. Do we have any other globe believers?
The motives are still the same.
I think Carter's capable of having a civilized conversation. I don't know if he's available. I don't know if the other ladies want to talk to this State Department dude. Are you there, Carter? Carter's a globe believer. You could, if you want to become a better globe believer, you don't actually want to know the truth, you could stick around and there are some globe believers that are capable of having a conversation with people, actually listening to what they say, letting them get to a natural pause in the conversation, taking in what they say, perhaps recalibrating what their original bias was against the person that they seem to have already decided who and what they are, and then actually learn from the conversation and from new connections that you make in the world. That's a good way to go through the world when you meet new people. Does anybody else have a question?
Sorry, it looks like State Department and Carter are the only two viable options at the moment as far as globers are concerned. And
Yeah.
Carter says he's just texting for now.
Okay, fine. I mean, I'll keep trying to talk to him, but I mean, what's the point? I mean, it's not like we're having a conversation. I mean, he's not really listening to anything I'm saying. Okay, I see what you put there in the text chat. Observing ships on the horizon demonstrates the curvature of the Earth. No. U.S. State Department, again, you are behind on your globe logic, your globe illogic, I should say, your globe rhetoric. That was once a claim. Most self-respecting fantasy globe believers won't even claim that anymore. We can demonstrate multiple occasions, and you can go and demonstrate it yourself, whereas when you think that ship is disappearing from your view, you could bring it back into your sight through either binoculars, a zoom camera, or other high-powered equipment. We are able to see things on the water in particular, since it lies flat and level, much further than we would be able to see if we were on a globe of the dimensions claimed. So, yeah, we should not be seeing ships on the horizon that we do see. In fact, at a 1-foot observer height on a globe, the horizon should be at 1.22 miles. So if those ships were disappearing beyond that imaginary curve, then we would be able to observe that, and in fact we don't observe that. Not only don't we observe it, we have many tests of this geometry of the globe, such as the Black Swan oil rigs that are distance markers that clearly show the horizon is beyond the oil rig at more than 10 miles, as well as multiple laser tests and long-distance observations that show that ships indeed do not disappear over any horizon. Do you have any response or rebuttal to that, State Department? I'll have to unmute you just a minute. I'm going to have to go back to my phone because I'm having trouble doing that on the computer. Any substantive response?
Yeah, so you can look in the side chat, Miss Scientist, and those are all the mathematical formulas, the equations, and everything you need to know. And for all the special people in the chat, you can read this. Try to keep it professional in the side chat, Flat Earthers. I know you like memes, but we're trying to be serious here. Thank you.
I see your visualization there, horizon distance visualization at 21 minutes after the hour with no source, no indication of how they got this measurement. We prefer
it's math.
to keep
simple math.
Oh my
math
gosh.
never lies,
I'm
man.
not going to be able to keep it up with this guy. He is just so dense. I'm sorry.
Math doesn't lie.
We prefer empirical measurements or actual math. So you would have to show me the calculations, the source, and how you got this information. I would be happy to show you the observations that I'm talking about. Would you like to see those?
Yeah, sure. Post your rebuttal.
I mean, I'm not rebutting your little rainbow graph there at 20 minutes after there because it's not worthy of a rebuttal. It's not, you can't just like draw a little graph on the computer and say this proves the globe. That's completely absurd at its face. Do you understand that? I mean, do you understand how that's not?
I mean, they do this in real life. The U.S. Coast Guard does this all the time. You know that, right?
No, I know that when it matters.
Yes, they do.
They do not. No. No, I know that when it matters, any kind of Coast Guard or military organization treats the Earth as flat and stationary, including
no, they don't.
Navigation across the water. Yes, they do. When's the last time you navigated across the water, U.S. State Department?
I mean, just because your flat map on your desk is flat, that doesn't prove the Earth is flat.
I can see that you don't want to learn, right? Like, at what point, what age were you when you decided that you already knew everything and you didn't want to learn anymore? Can you tell me that?
We go to school to learn.
Oh, he was 12. You can tell by the way he acts. He was about 12.
Right?
No, yeah, that's right.
Wait.
Yeah.
So why aren't y'all questioning math at this point? If you're questioning everything, then why aren't you forming your own math, your own science, your own physics? Like, obviously, obviously, all of it's wrong, right? All physics are wrong. All chemistry is wrong. All geology is wrong.
Nobody claimed it. Nobody.
So why are you cherry picking science here? oh, Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's lying about space. So why are you cherry picking science?
Let me know when I get
You'll say one thing, but then you'll say another.
Okay, are you interested in my response? Okay, thank you. Neil deGrasse Tyson is an entertainer, not a serious scientist. No serious scientist takes him seriously. He
has a degree from one of the most prestigious universities in the country. Yeah, he might be funny, but trust me, his degree is very serious.
Well,
it's not funny.
Many scientists who understand there's a difference between...
Stephen Hawking was funny.
Many scientists who understand there's a difference between empirical science, what was always traditionally understood as science, and the claims of astrophysics, which do not use traditional empirical science. They're more in the realm of science fiction. So yes, they will call themselves scientists, but they are not using the scientific method. They are not making a natural observation. They are not testing phenomenon that are observed in the natural world. And in fact, they often act as if the natural laws that we observe and test in this realm don't apply in their fantasy realm, even though they pretend that they do in some occasions whenever it's convenient for them.
Well, let me just ask you a quick question. Do you know what an ecosystem is in biology?
Yes, I know what it is.
So, you're not going to find an African lion in the San Francisco Bay, right? It's just not part of that ecosystem.
We found, 26 minutes after the hour, we found something we agree on.
So, wait.
Up on the wall.
You know, space is technically almost like an ecosystem, right? Like, you're not going to find a human floating around in space.
Nope.
So what I mean to tell you is, wait.
Nope. You can't.
You can go to the Los Angeles Planetarium and look in a telescope, an actual telescope, during certain days, and they will show you Mars, they will show you the moon, they will show you different planets, okay? And it's not fake, okay? Galileo was doing this shit. The shit's real. You can look up in the sky and see these planets. So why do you think
another thing we agree
these
on?
round
We look up in the sky and we see them. Yep, we agree.
Why do you think these round planets don't have a similarity to Earth? Why do you think Earth is flat and completely different from everything else in space?
Great question. Yep. So this is a common question. I'll give you an answer. Throughout history, when we did do, as you say, we looked up in the sky. Many cultures did. They saw the stars, what they called the fixed stars, which moved in a fixed pattern throughout the year, the constellations and so on. Then they saw the wandering stars. That's where the word planet comes from. They saw these wandering stars that didn't seem to be acting like the other stars, and they called them wandering stars, and that's what we see as the planet. Earth was not considered to be a planet because it's illogical to look at something that's away from you and decide that that is what you're on. There's no reason to think that. You know, if I see a bird flying out my window, I don't think I must be a bird. No, I think that's a bird. I'm a person. I'm standing on a flat stationary Earth. There's no motion detected. There's no verifiable, testable, repeatable cause and effect relationship that demonstrates any kind of motion. You don't like my answers, so you try to talk over me. So I will wrap up this sentence very soon, I promise. No verifiable detecting of motion, no proof of any curvature anywhere. So that's why we know we're not like them.
Okay, if that's the case, and you say that, you know, the Earth is flat and all this, why is it wintertime in Australia and summertime in America? You know, why do we have two different hemispheres?
The sun is clearly moving, and it's clearly is
But how far
causing
is the
some
sun?
areas to be warmer at different times and other areas to be warmer at other times. Like, you don't
But how
need a
far is the
planet to
sun?
do that.
How far?
You don't need a planet to do
Because
that.
I know.
I know
how
that you
far
know
it
what
is.
I know that you know what the story is, but they've never gone there. They have not.
Well, then why does it take 8 minutes for light to reach Earth? And how do we know that?
Well, I mean, the speed
I
of
could
light.
go on my iPhone and see exactly when the sunset is going to be and when the sunrise.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't. Can you just answer my question? What age were you when you decided you already knew everything and you weren't going to learn anything more or change your opinion about anything? What age were you? Think back. You can take a minute to think about it if you want. If you can't answer that question, then we're done.
I can answer it right now, actually.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's say when I got into college, okay, and yes, I'll give you a good example. The Bible, right? If you're raised in a Christian household, you're told that like God created the earth and He did it in a certain amount of time and all this stuff. And then when you go to college and you go to geology class, they'll tell you, oh well, Earth was created this such and such far away, and this is how the universe was created. And so obviously, I don't subscribe to the college's way of how the world was created, right? Because they have a certain agenda, right? They're not religious, they're scientific, and they can only prove things based off of evidence. And if you can't prove God exists and you can't show no evidence, then in their opinion, God's not real, right? So college is not going to take a religious standpoint. They're just not. They're going to take a scientific standpoint. And you, as a believer, if you're a Christian, you have to look at this and consider the source. And yes, you still want to pass the class, but deep down you're
probably muted you because you didn't really give me a number, but I'm assuming you're saying in college. It was a very convoluted answer, because I guess you're saying that college challenged your Christian beliefs, but when I was first going to college, I actually found it interesting that it was some of the religious people who were the most willing to challenge the professors, like, for example, on evolution, on radiocarbon dating, and so on. And they actually had some really good arguments, and they were actually more using the scientific method more convincingly than the professors. These people really impressed me. So if you'd stayed along that kind of tact there, instead of, because now whatever it was that changed in you, now it seems like you are now just spouting the party lie. Now you're just kind of like, oh yeah, whatever Neil deGrasse Tyson says, that much must be right. But around here, we're still looking for empirical evidence. We're still questioning narratives that can't be empirically demonstrated. That's what we're about here. So, I mean, if you're at all, I think it's really interesting. Like, if you just want to hear, NASA propaganda, you can just go turn on your TV. But if you want to come in here and talk to real people who ask, and if you want to add, the questions you're asking are decent. They're from some website that says 10 things flat earthers can't answer, which then I went and answered every single one. But you don't want to hear the answer, so you talked over half of them. You came in with this preconceived notion of what flat earthers were because someone's told you that or you read that somewhere. But now you have a chance to actually talk to real people who, I'm here to tell you, I mean, there's many people in this channel. If you stick around and try to take the conversation semi-seriously, I mean, you might learn something. And we might learn something from you. I mean, I'm willing to learn something from you, but first you have to be willing to have a serious conversation. I'm just going to end up getting totally frustrated with you, and I won't be able to keep talking to you if you keep being so incredibly rude like you've been.
So 300,000 people died in the Haiti earthquake. How does an earthquake happen on a flat Earth?
There's no need for a spherical shape to have an earthquake. There's no need for a spherical
shape. A flat Earth is not going to have tectonic plates. I'll tell you that right now.
Why not? They can be flat.
Why not?
Yeah, that's the question. Why not? Yeah. That's the question I asked.
Because that's what a globe Earth does. Globe Earth has tectonic plates. Flat Earth doesn't.
Okay, so we understand.
So where's the core of the flat Earth? By the way,
okay, hold on.
Get into
hold
this.
on. No, we're not just going to jump onto the core here. You're on tectonic plates, all right? I just want to make a general point about that, which will also apply to your next topic and the one after that, and the one after that, and the one after that, and the one after that. You've been told all these things happen on a globe. You've been presented from a very young age when you were still in the concrete operational stage as a child, when you should have been only learning from that's why it's called Piaget's concrete operation.
Wait, ma'am. You do realize, I know you like to make fun of me or whatever, but you do realize...
I'd be totally serious. I'd be totally serious. When you were, like, can you just let me, seriously, like, if you don't want to talk to me, no one's forcing you. But if you're going to ask me a question, you have to at least let me answer it. You were given a story when you were still in the concrete operational stage where you should have been only learning about things that you could hold and experience in the real world. It's been demonstrated many times that children don't pick up abstract concepts properly until they're into adolescence. So that's why in a proper educational system, they would not be introducing these fantasy globe models to you that you can't see or experience when you were still in the concrete operational stage. So because they implanted this fantasy globe model in your mind and then told you about a bunch of other stuff that actually is true, that does work, that you got it all confused and you think it has to be on there. So you have to that's why I told you you'd be better off. Is he gone? I'll just finish my
So
thought.
do you know what mantle?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm almost done. Give me 30 seconds to wrap up, please. That's why I said you'd be better off.
Staying off topic.
I said 30 seconds. Nope. The topic is you, U.S. State Department, because that's what you keep bringing back. You're not interested in what I have to say, so I'm saying you'd be better off going to your childhood state, relearning and imagining, what if the globe wasn't real? And just imagine that's even possible, because that's not even a possibility in your mind. You're sure you're right. You're sure NASA's right. You're sure you live on a globe. And everything you say, ask, that's why you can't really hear what I'm saying. You have to go back to that place and say, what if? You always should be able to re-examine your principles. You always should be able to deconstruct any fundamentalist belief that's put into your brain as a child and say, oh, if I was just coming here and no one had told me that, is this what I would discover about my world? No. And that's what will make you a more powerful and successful and interesting person. Or you can just keep being the way you are. I mean, if it's working for you, how's it working out for you? Like Dr. Phil would say. I mean, how's it working out for you to be rude, obnoxious, not listen to people, not really care what other people have to say, think you're the smartest person in the room? Does that work well for you in real life?
So can I talk, or are you just going to hit the mute button again?
I asked you a question. Now I'm ready for your answer.
So let me ask you a question. How would a flat Earth generate internal pressure systems, convection currents, which is required for the heat and pressure differences of the rotation? And how does a flat Earth have mantle convection? Go ahead, Miss Scientist.
We do not have to explain.
Because the tectonic plates
Thank you for muting him so I could actually answer. Because you ask one question, then you would wait for me to answer. Like, otherwise, just go talk to your mirror. If you just like hearing your voice that much. We don't have to explain every single phenomenon that happens in the whole world in order to understand that the geometry of the globe is false. Your tectonic plates, heat inside the Earth, pressure inside the Earth, in no way, shape, or form proves a sphere. I mean, we observe that this is what happens, and we accept reality the way it presents itself. I mean, I suggest you try it. I'll just keep going back to that. You might want to try accepting the reality the way it presents itself. All right, I'm done with that one.
Yeah, but we do track plates. We can figure out where the plates are, and a flat Earth wouldn't allow the same wave refractions the patterns that these plates have on a globe Earth. So yes, I can explain the phenomenon, and yes,
so
I do know why the Earth is a globe. Thank you very much.
My gosh. Demonstrate why the waves.
No edge-driven crust movement. No edge-driven crust movement.
That makes no sense. Demonstrate why. Nope. No, you have to demonstrate it then. Obviously, you need to educate me. Why is it necessary to have a globe for these phenomena? Please demonstrate. Thank you. You could put it in the chat. We'll wait.
So you think that there's like an ice wall or an edge or...
Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. State Department. You see that every time you get put up against a wall, what you think is a gotcha, you never concede the point. You don't provide any evidence for me. You just move on to your next. Now you must have found a new website that's like 25 questions that flat earthers can't answer. And then I'm going to keep answering every one, and you're going to keep jumping on to the next one, and you're going to keep not conceding my point. Like, why should I just keep doing this? My voice is going to get tired. Can you concede your plates, or you can come back later and give me your amazing evidence? That's fine. You don't have time to research right now. We can put that one on the shelf. Let's do that. If you have amazing evidence of your claim,
Ma'am, the flat Earth model has no scientific valid explanation for tectonic plate behavior. Okay, period. And if you have some, put it in the chat. No. You have no scientific valid explanation for tectonic.
That's ridiculous. Tectonic plates exist and occur, and we accept them the way they are. I mean, what do you mean? That's the evidence. It works on a flat Earth just as well as on a globe. I'm asking you to prove your extraordinary claim that you need a globe for tectonic plates. I mean, plates are flat.
Plate tectonics, earthquakes, mountain formation, continental drift only make sense on a globe. Do you understand?
Okay,
do you get
I
it?
Understand. No,
you don't get it.
No, I don't like this. I don't like this tone with you. I asked you for some evidence and verification of your claim, which you do not have. So just say, I don't have the evidence right now.
I do have the evidence.
Okay, well, let's see it. Did you already put it in there?
I'll post all my sources in the side chat, and you can go through every single one.
All right, well, he's working on that. Does anybody else have a question?
I don't need to work on that. I have
Underfuck, Mars, etc. Anybody new? Because we've been talking to this guy for a while.
In the chat, but I don't mind asking you. So, you're a flat earther, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, sorry, I just joined, so I'm not sure who's what.
I'm kind of annoyed by that guy, so if you hear an annoyance in my tone, it's not supposed to be toward you, it's that guy.
None taken. So I missed a lot of the tectonic stuff, but it had me thinking a really weird, odd question. What do you think, or what do you believe is under the dirt? Like, someone was saying that we have only dug like 8 miles underground. Do you believe it's like dirt all the way down, or do you think that like if we kept digging we would get to hell, or do we like dig to the other side and we just like fall into space, or like what happens if we just keep digging, like hypothetically?
That is a great question. Yes. And so we definitely do not, there's no evidence that we're on a disk. There's no evidence that we're in any kind of fantasy realm of outer space, because there's no evidence that the claimed near vacuum of space actually exists. So I'll cross that one off your list. I've definitely eliminated that possibility. But as you already brought up, since we have only dug, I think it's like 7.8 miles, something like that, into the Earth, there's no way for me to know. So like, if I were in that field, which I'm not, I mean, I could come up with a hypothesis, but then how would I test it if our equipment is not going to go further than that, as well as it being extremely expensive? So I'm just not really in the realm of like writing science fiction, like other people like that, but we are just so busy here, like trying to hold people to empiricism for things that we actually can test and observe, such as the geometry of the flat Earth and the lack of proof of curvature of rotation of any kind. We do have a speculation Sunday, which I invite you to come back and ask that question, because you probably get a bunch of people that probably would speculate on it. I'm just not the one who's, I'm just not going to do that, because I do believe in the scientific method, and there's so many things that could be explored on Earth, such as that we could do, much more easily, that already are being done, such as exploring the ocean realms, that's probably number one for me, is so much of the ocean is unexplored. That's what if I could explore anything, that's what I would do. Get a boat and go out there and mess around.
What does that have to do with the topic of today?
Who's asking that?
American Defender here. How's it going?
Good. Yeah, he wanted to know what we think is under the earth if you keep digging, since the claims of what are in there cannot be verified and are entirely theoretical. So it's relevant to the topic. Yeah.
Listen, I've been waiting for someone. Listen, I believe in the hollow earth and nobody believes in me. So this is the perfect day to come in here. So I'm happy you brought this.
Weirdo.
Yeah,
Sunday,
genuine
Sunday,
question.
come back Sunday. This is May 7th.
Yeah,
so,
not trying to
Thursday,
gotcha
Friday, Saturday,
anyone
Sunday.
or anything.
Yep, come back in 4 days there, American.
I thought we were talking about if you kept digging.
Yeah, I just said we'll talk about that on Speculation Sunday, since it can't be tested empirically, and that's what we are holding
you're speculating what's happening under the water. I mean, it sounds like you're speculating.
I can go under the water. I didn't speculate on what's there. I said I would explore not just what's under the water, but, how far can I go in my boat and what happens if I go too far. I mean, that's what I would do. But I wouldn't. I'm just saying that's just not a topic that's interesting to me. I mean, it's kind of interesting. You could force me to come up with something, but I'm just not going to, because we're talking about how the geometry of a sphere is not what we observe and experience on Earth. Did you know that, American?
Well, I mean, if you just sailed forward without stopping, hypothetically, with nothing blocking your path, you'd hit the ice wall, and beyond that, it's nothing but ice.
I don't know what you mean about that. That sounds like a claim that you had. Do you have any evidence of that claim?
I mean, I don't have evidence. I mean, I've known people that go to Antarctica, and they told me they just went straight and they hit a wall of ice. It's called the ice wall.
People. Wow, you must have some special friends. So few people have gone there. And in fact, it's such a tightly controlled area that even if you did, through permits and have enough money to be allowed to go there, ask for permission to go there, and then went on a tightly controlled mission there, you would not be allowed to freely explore. You would be shown what they wanted you to see in a certain little circumscribed realm, which is a very tiny part of the actual, so-called continent of Antarctica. So the fact of it is that none of us actually know what's going on there. So,
do you have any personal anecdotes?
Well,
I've never been
bunch
there.
of YouTubers, including a bunch of flat Earth people, go down there recently. I remember there was a buzz on YouTube about that.
Yep, that's right. Yep, I heard about that.
So what happens if I do just sail straight? Do I fall off the flat Earth?
No, you do not. Nope. There's no evidence that there's any kind of edge anywhere. There's nothing to fall off of. That's kind of a cartoon type image of flat Earth that's been put into your mind. It's like a discrediting. So let me tell you something, American. Oftentimes when there's an idea that goes against a norm, especially a highly profitable norm, such as the globe fantasy promoted by NASA and many other corporations, they don't want their racket to get shut down. So they're going to put out, they're going to it's called controlled opposition. They're going to get ahead of the public opinion. They're going to put out nonsense memes about the flat Earth that has nothing to do with what people who have actually gone out, measured, tested, and observed the flat Earth think. So I'll put the observation list in the chat. I don't know if U.S. State ever went and looked at it, but if you're interested in looking
so can I have a model of what the Earth would look like in your eyes?
There's how could I possibly have
round Earthers have a representation of what they believe the Earth is.
Yeah.
So do you have a representation of what the Earth will be, or? I mean, if you're trying to convert me here,
I'm not trying. Oh, please! By all means, I am not trying to convert you.
Well, we don't convert people. We don't need you.
Speech without change is just yapping, all right? And I want to be enlightened. I want to be intelligized.
You are going in so many different directions here. I don't know if my link came up there because I'm trying to put it on my phone. I'm having a lot of issues here, but at some point I'll probably get you these observations. But yeah, a couple of things that you said there. One is yes, our our observation, what we have observed and demonstrated, is that I'm going to have to send it to myself, I guess. I'm sorry, I'm just having issues because I can't seem to put things in the chat in different places. What we've observed and demonstrated is that this fantasy globe model that they're telling you that you live on is not accurate, and it's not necessary to come up with a model of the entire Earth in order to demonstrate that we see too far to be on a globe with a radius of 3,959 miles claimed. But the other thing that I wanted to say is that we are not trying to convert people, because it's more of an opportunity for you or anybody else who comes in here. Like, what we're trying to do is to make the information available, and then some people are ready to deal with the information and to follow the facts where they lead, and other people are not. They'd rather just stay on their fantasy globe ball because it's easier, it's less effort. You get, you think you get more social acceptance that way, but really, if you were someone who was able to get to the point where you were able to explain why the globe model is false, you might find that you would get more respect in your life by going against that claim, because it's nonsense. And, people who have sense are able to detect logical arguments and respect them. So you might have a better friend set. You might find a better friend set if you started using your brain. All right, I finally got it for you, I think. Good. Yep. Well, it came to the right place then, because there's a lot of really, smart people who are willing to educate you. We're supposed to be having ladies night here, but I'm not going to just keep talking for hours here if no other ladies are here. So, do you see the observations there at 15 minutes after the hour that I tagged you with? You see that? It's a link you have to open. It says flat Earth observations from around the plane.
Yes, it's taking a while. I don't think it's loading.
Okay. Yeah, so it says up there, because we are given, at the top there, we are given specific dimensions for the globe model. We can use those to calculate and predict how far we should be able to see objects in the distance. There are many long-distance observations that are considered globe killers because they would be impossible to see if the WGS-84 globe model were an indication of reality. Oh, yeah, and then there's a link there. I forgot that was even in there. If you're into podcasts, do you like podcasts?
I don't do any of it.
You don't like podcasts, yeah, because I forgot there's a link to the Flat Earth Discord podcast in there. So anyway, but the main thing I was trying to point out to you was there's the visible light flat Earth observations. There's a list of those. You might be able to find one that's near where you live. They're all around the world, so there's several of them that are in US of A. Then there's the infrared light flat Earth observations, the mirror-based flat Earth observations, the laser flat Earth observations, the radio wave flat Earth observations, the microwave flat Earth observations. So all of those using different parts of the electromagnetic spectrum to propagate waves through the air that if we lived on a globe, they would not be able to reach the target indicated. They would not be able to hit that target because the target would be around this alleged curve. Does that make sense?
Somewhat.
Okay, so what part doesn't make sense?
I mean, I say somewhat as a general statement. I understand the total grasp of it, and I don't deny it or anything. I just would have to do a lot more on my own research. I don't trust knowledge blindly. I like to be a trust abhorrent person. I like to do my own research, but I take into consideration what you're saying. I wrote down some notes, and I'm going to research on this. All right. So yeah.
Yeah, you totally should do that. That's what I did. I didn't even come. I was invited to Discord for a long time before I came to it, because I just wanted to get my research totally, where I knew exactly what I was demonstrating empirically to myself without talking to other people about it. Because the fact that you have that mindset is amazing, because if you try to go out and I'm trying to find you this other book too, in case you're interested in paper books. If you're someone who is easily swayed by other people, and you want to stay on your fantasy globe, you'll easily find people who pat you on the head and say, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, yep, we're here with our British accents, sounding like we know what we talk about because we're using 4-syllable words, and we're here to tell you, yep, they don't know what they're talking about. Definitely, go right back onto your globe. It's perfectly fine." But if you're somebody who's willing to actually investigate this, it's not, you can demonstrate it to yourself with, fairly simple logic, And then once you do that, then you're kind of like impervious to these silly people who don't know what they're talking about, who try to tell you you're still on this globe that has no evidence, that's not what you experience, it's not what anyone experienced, that has no empirical evidence, no verifiable scientific testable evidence of rotation or curvature of any kind. So this book, I haven't actually reread this. I remember really liking it at the time, so like I'm not saying I endorse every single thing in there, but I know it does explain like the 8 inches per mile squared pretty good. It goes through the formulas and stuff like that, and the mathematics of why the geometry of the globe doesn't work. There's another one that's even older. Now I'm trying to remember what that one's called. It'll come to me. I don't know. Do you like paper books or do you prefer websites or videos or what? Is he gone? Am I gone? No, I'm still here. Can you guys still hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, good. Yep. Sometimes I lose my audio, so like sometimes I think I'm just out here on an island. I don't know, Jenna or Flatsy, are you guys here? Like, I don't know if they want to participate or what, because like otherwise I'll just end this at the top of the hour because I've like talking the whole hour. It's kind of like I just can't go on forever. But
yeah, I'm here. I've been listening. You've been doing great.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to jump in on any of these guys. I guess they're gone. They ran away. I don't know.